Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Tiffania, Kirche and Siesta, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, RADROVER 117, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Conan's hideaway. Naruto stared down at the defeated Diva path, as Conan started wrapping him in layers of paper for transport, and ultimately burial in a Megakure no Sato. Naruto remained silent, as he thought over all that had happened, and what Nagato had said to him before his death. "You taking him too?" Naruto asked her. Konan nodded, as she kept her eyes on the body. "This Diva path was constructed from Yuhiko's corpse. He was someone very special to us." "So that's Yuhiko," Naruto mused before turning his head towards the blue-haired woman. "What about you? I don't want to think that you just returned to the Akatsuki." "I'm through with Akatsuki," she responded venomously. "Yuhiko and Nagato were everything to me, Yuhiko's dream and Nagato's dream. If they've entrusted their dreams to you, then you are their inheritor, and the only one capable of fulfilling their wishes. Nagato believed in you, so I will too. You have aimed support for Uzumaki Naruto. If I can't find the answer, then it will be up to you to do so. I will believe in you, Uzumaki Naruto. The name Naruto, and the guts to never give up, that's what Nagato and Hirosenin gave me. I will fail them, and I won't fail you," Naruto told her. Konan let a small smile grace her features, and handed him some paper flowers, then took these. "I hope for you that these flowers of hope will never die." Naruto smiled, as he watched her disappear in a swirl of papers. After she had gone, he placed the flowers on the ground near the center of the battlefield, where they would remain, as a memorial to the heroes who have fallen. The moment she left, he stared down at the paper flowers for what felt like an eternity before turning away, and started walking in the general direction of the crater that used to be his home. During the walk, his thoughts couldn't help but drift to the people he had failed, and he was a little hesitant to return to them after all that had happened. He may not be the sharpest kunai in the pouch, but he had become an expert on human nature, and knew that he would most likely be blamed for the Akatsuki attack on Konoha, just like he was blamed and hated for the Kyuubi's attack 16 years ago. And then there was that whole business with the masked man his father had spoken of, supposedly the man behind the Kyuubi's attack, and most likely behind Pain's too. All things considered, if he wasn't a shinobi of Konoha, then the Akatsuki wouldn't have attacked, and he wouldn't have come so close to releasing the Kyuubi. Sometimes he thought that things would have been better if he was never there. Almost, as a reply to the thought, the ground lit up around him, and forced him to cover his eyes. "What the?" he yelled, as he disappeared into the light. Tristan Academy of Magic. Hiraga Sato aka Sato Chevalier de Hiraga was originally from a world called Earth, which only had a single moon. A year ago, he was summoned to this world with no name other than the magic world he had called it by his master, a member of nobility called Louise Françoise Leblanc de la Valliere. When he first arrived, the only thing he wanted to do was go back to his homeworld. However, as time went on, he eventually developed feelings for Louise, and decided to stay to be with her. During his time on this world, he fought in the recent war between the Kingdom of Tristan and the floating island nation of Albion. At the end of the war, he fought against an army of 70,000 with nothing but a sentient sword, and died in order for his now wife Louise to live. He was later resurrected by the half-elf Tiffania, who used her mother's ring to restore his life and body. He then returned home to the academy, and reunited with Louise. Because of his actions during the war, he was rewarded by Queen Henrietta, who made him a nobleman, and vice-captain of the Knights of Ondine. After being sent on a mission to recover both the half-elf Tiffania and his powers of Gandalfer, he eventually returned to the Magic Academy with Louise and Tiffania. The latter of which had decided to join the academy to learn how to control her own magic, and more importantly, to make friends. So it was during evening practice that the story begins, with Sato and the captain of the Ondine Knights, Gitch de Gramont, another veteran of the war, were locked in combat. The other Ondine Knights were also sparring against each other. However, these two were recognized by everyone as the best swordsmen at the academy, though Sato was known as the best swordsman because of his unique powers. "Ichi, is that all you've got?" Sato grinned, holding his sentient sword, Derflinger, in both hands. The blonde-haired knight, Gitchi, simply grinned back, and held up a rose which quickly turned into a sword. My speciality is earth magic. He lunged forward, forcing Sato to step back, and parry the oncoming strike. Further away, a large number of female mages, their classmates, stood watching and cheering. Among them were the stunningly beautiful Kirche Gustav Frederica von Anhalt-Zerbst, a fire user from the neighboring allied country of Germania, and Montmorency Margarita Lafayette de Montmorency, a water user native to Tristan. "Recently they're just playing this night game from morning to night," Montmorency commented. "Yet they still dare to call it practice. It looks fun, so it's okay, right?" Kirche asked, amused. "Well, here's a person who is unsatisfied," she added, turning her gaze on beside her. "What?" Louise scoffed. "I'm not blaming you," Kirche shrugged. "Sato is just busy with the night squad every day." "I don't really feel unsatisfied," Louise stammered. "I admit we returned from the war safely with great difficulty, but we do not have time to talk properly." Although it's not like I don't understand, she muttered the last part and turned away. Sato. A female voice called, catching theirs and everyone else's attention. Tifa. Sato blinked as she approached. Everyone stopped to stare, mesmerized at both her academy uniform and more importantly the sheer size of her bust. Seriously, how the hell did that girl not have back problems? Tiffania smiled as she approached, only to trip over a discarded sword on the ground and fall on top of Sato. Silence. Why is it always Sato? One of the knights cried. It's painful, Tifa. Sato tried to breathe, but the magnificent bust was pressing down on his head, stopping all circulation. Sorry, I am so. She quickly got off of him, and after making sure he was breathing again he stood up. It's okay, Sato reassured me. Besides that, have you decided to join the academy? Yes, Tifa nodded with a smile. It is all because Sato encouraged me to be brave, though I must keep it a secret that I am half-elf, okay? Don't worry, Sato smiled back. I made a promise, right? I will protect you. What are you smiling for? That dog, Louise gritted her teeth as she watched on. If she's going to learn magic then she should try summoning a familiar, Kirche spoke up, as his sparkling illusion surrounded his form. I will of course offer my services, as a tutor to this lovely lady, as a noble I guarantee you will have your familiar by the end of the week. Laying it on a bit thick, aren't you, Kirche? Sato asked with a smirk causing Kirche to face fold. You're ruining my introduction here, Kirche waved him off. Summon a familiar? Tifa asked. Yes, all nobles have one, Kirche nodded. Besides me, Sato added. Technically that sword of yours is familiar even if you didn't summon it, Kirche countered. I prefer the term partner, thank you very much, Derflinger said indignantly. What must I do to summon one? Tifa asked the question. I'll teach you tomorrow, Kirche replied. It's getting late, Sato said looking up at the now darkened sky. Everyone packs up, we're calling it a day. The next morning Sato woke up in bed with Louise at his side and sighed at remembering the things that had happened over the last few months. He sat up and turned away knowing that Louise was always asleep at this time. He stood and quickly got dressed before heading towards the door. Once at the door he looked over and smiled at Louise's sleeping form as he remembered their brief non-wedding before the final battle of the last war. I'm going, he whispered and turned away. Louise's eyes snapped open at his words and she bolted from the bed. Wait, Sato. She shouted and dashed towards him, tackling him to the ground. Where do you plan on going without your master's permission? She questioned. Going where? To practice with the night squad of course, he answered as he recovered. Yesterday and the day before yesterday were also the same, right? You should report once a day, Louise told him. Yes, Sato nodded. I'm going to practice now, master, he made to stand only for her to pull him back down to the floor. Wait, I haven't finished yet, Louise started, but Sato quickly pushed her off of him. Why are you angry so early in the morning? Sato asked her. I'm not angry, Louise denied. Then what is it? Sato asked further. I want her to say nervously. What do you want? Sato asked again. I want you to accompany me more, just like before, Louise thought, but didn't say the words. Why don't you notice it, you slow dog? What? Sato asked her after a moment of silence. Come back earlier, Louise said finally. Have you got something to do? Sato asked, confused. Yes, Louise nodded, and he sighed. Got it, Sato said, as he stood up. I will come back earlier today. He exited the room and closed the door behind him. Sato arrived at the training ground to find the rest of the Ondi Knights there, along with most of the male academy students, and even a few females. In the center were Tifa and Kirche going over the summoning spell with the other knights, adding in their own input once in a while. How's it going so far? Sato asked, as he approached. Oh Sato, Kirche acknowledged. She's just about ready to start the summoning whenever you're ready, Melody. Sato Tifa started. You'll do fine, Tifa, Sato nodded with a smile. My name is Tiffania Westwood, Tifa started, and the ground around her began to glow blue. The pentagon which holds the 5 powers, in front of my familiar, and I, opened the gate. The light expanded, and a large circle appeared on the ground in the shape of a pentagon with a star in the center. Appear before me. My familiar suddenly a green sphere of energy appeared in front of her which everyone recognized as a portal. Is that supposed to happen? One of the knights asked, confused. Not normally, no, Kirche replied honestly. I've seen it happen before, Sato said, catching everyone's attention. When Louise summoned me the second time. Wait, you're not saying that, Kirche started, as a figure exploded out from the green portal and knocked Tifa to the ground. The portal collapsed a second later, and a loud groan, as the figure. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, and wore a black jumpsuit with numerous orange patches on it. It's a human, Kirche said in surprise. What the hell just happened? The newcomer asked, as he pushed himself up and felt something soft in his hands. What the hell? He looked down and saw that he was on top of a rather beautiful girl around his age, and his hands were on her. Oh shit. He immediately jumped off and raised his hands in defense. Please don't hurt me, I didn't know what I was doing or where I was. Do you speak Japanese? Sato asked. Japanese. Who are you, and where the hell am I? The newcomer asked. I'm Sato. It's kind of hard to explain where you are, Sato replied. Sato? Can you understand what he's saying? Gichi asked. Yeah, he's speaking Japanese, Sato nodded. I can speak your language too, the newcomer spoke up in perfect French. He blinked and frowned afterwards. How did he know how to do that? My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Now where the hell am I, and which one of you summoned me? You know you were summoned? Sato questioned. Yeah, I know the feeling, and that was definitely it. A little warning would have been great though, Naruto replied. Well, you're kind of on another world, Sato started. Tifa here was trying to summon a familiar. She ended up summoning you, not really sure how since the last human to be summoned was me. So I'm no longer in my world anymore, Naruto commented. Like I'd believe that, who the hell do you think I am? This world has 2 moons, Sato added. Seriously? Naruto asked after a moment of silence. Unfortunately I am, Sato shook his head. Dozens of thoughts were swimming through Naruto's head at this. The first was denial at being in an entirely different world, and the next was worry about the state of his friends back home. Then his eyes saddened at the realization that even if he went home, he would probably be blamed for Pain's attack, and hated even more than he already was. Even if Nagato did resurrect the dead, then he had to ask himself how many more people would die because of disease, hunger, and thirst, because their homes were destroyed. Getting back was one thing, but what if he actually succeeded in getting back? Well, I've got nothing to go back to anyway. Naruto stood up sadly before putting on a smile, and holding out his hand towards Tifa. Sorry about knocking you down, I didn't really know what was happening. Uzumaki Naruto, nice to meet you. Tiffania Westwood, Tifa responded. It was my fault for summoning you to begin with, so please don't apologize. Do you agree to become her familiar? Sato asked. What's familiar? Naruto asked curiously. Basically a servant though more akin to a partner, Derflinger answered. I don't answer to anyone, Naruto said simply. You won't answer me, Tifa responded. If I'm sorry about this, I'll send you back. I'm not going back either, Naruto interrupted. Alright, I'll be your familiar, but the moment I want to leave, then that's it, I'm gone. Being familiar is kind of a lifelong commitment, Sato added. Then I'll take her with me, Naruto shrugged. Either way it doesn't matter to me, not now at least. Tifa, start the incantation, Gichi told the hat-wearing girl. Tifa brought her wand to Naruto's forehead where his aid was still worn, and began the spell. My name is Tiffania Westwood, Pentagon which holds the 5 powers, bless this individual, and make him my familiar. She then leaned in, and kissed him full on the lips, making his eyes go wide at the contact. As she pulled away he felt a surge of chakra course through his coils that was not his own, and neither was it the Kyuubi's. It was something else that made its way through the chakra coils, with the only destination in mind being his eyes. He suddenly fell dizzy, and collapsed backwards, as his eyes shifted color from blue to a darkened gray. I was expecting him to pass out, but where is his rune? Gichi asked. His eyes, Sato replied, as he knelt down beside the unconscious blonde. He opened one of the blonde's eyes, and saw that they were gray with circular lines around his pupils. Come on, let's get him inside. I know personally what it's like to wake up after falling unconscious like that. Was this a mistake? Tifa asked the two. No, after everything that's happened to us I think everything happens for a reason, Sato told her. As both he and Gichi helped the unconscious Naruto into the academy, another thought couldn't help but pass through his mind. Louise is a void mage, and so is Sheffield's master, both of which have human familiars, so does this mean that Tifa is a void maid too? Naruto's mindscape. Naruto's first thought upon opening his eyes was that he must have died because all he saw was an empty white void. He stood up and looked around, but saw nothing but emptiness. A sudden spike of pain in his eyes made him yelp, and he fell to his knees, as water seemed to appear below him. He looked down, and saw his reflection, and more importantly his eyes, the Rinnegan. Still, as unpredictable as Uzumaki Naruto, a familiar voice sounded from behind him. He turned his head in surprise, and saw none other than Uchiha Itachi standing atop the water with his Sharingan still active. What the hell are you doing here, Itachi? Naruto demanded. Insurance, Itachi replied, and approached him. Naruto fell into a stance, and prepared to attack when Itachi held up his hand. I mean you no harm, but I have something to give you, something you will need if this world all worlds are to be saved. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, and suddenly his body froze. Itachi drew closer, and pushed his fingers to the blonde's forehead. You will find out in due time. For now though you must continue to push forward. Though Konoha is gone you must not give up. Pain-sama Nagato gave you a mission to establish true peace. You cannot fail in that quest, Itachi said, as he pulled back, and turned away. He didn't give you the Rinnegan that girl did when you were marked, as she is familiar, or should I say she awakened the Rinnegan within you with a little help from me. You and Nagato are both members of the Uzumaki clan who descend from the Rikudan Sennin, the first holder of the Rinnegan. Why do you care? After what you did to Sasuke, after what you've done to Gar, and me. Why do you care what happens to me now? Naruto questioned. The Uchiha clan were planning to take over Konoha. I was ordered to wipe them out, but I couldn't bring myself to kill my little brother. I had planned on waiting for Sasuke to grow strong enough to restore the Uchiha clan's honor by becoming a traitor and allowing him to kill me. Judging by my recent death at his hands, I'd say I succeeded. However, it looks like Akatsuki, or should I say Madara, managed to get to Sasuke after all, Itachi explained. "You lying," Naruto denied. "If that were true, then why did you join the Akatsuki?" "Because I had nowhere else to go," Itachi replied simply. "My chakra is fading away." Uzumaki Naruto, last of the Senju clan, faded into nothingness a moment later. Naruto collapsed a few seconds later, as his eyes started to burn, and he clutched his chest, as his breathing started to worsen. His last thought before darkness claimed him was that he definitely needed a good night's sleep. Tristan Academy of Magic. Naruto woke with a groan, catching the attention of Tifa, who had just entered the room, and rushed over to him. "Please don't try to move, you mustn't push yourself," Tifa told him. "I'm fine," Naruto said, as he sat up. "What happened to me?" "From what the others were saying, the bond between us formed by for some reason it focused on your eyes instead of your hand," Tifa replied. "My eyes, the Rinnegan," Naruto sighed, and looked around. He was lying in a double bed in what looked like a bedroom filled with unfamiliar furniture, and Tifa was sitting in the chair beside him. He pulled the covers off, and let his legs fall to the side, so he could stand, only to notice that all he had on were his shorts. "Where are my clothes?" Naruto asked the hat-wearing girl. Right here," Tifa replied, as she walked over to one of the drawers, and took out a set of familiar orange and black clothes. "Thanks," he said, as he took them from her, and put them on. "Are you regretting becoming my friend?" Tifa asked him after he was dressed. "I'm not sure yet," Naruto replied honestly. "Ask me again later, and I'll give you a different answer." He let out a long yawn before turning, and heading for the door. "Is there any food in this place?" he asked, as he opened the door. "I haven't been there myself yet," Tifa admitted. "Then let's go," Naruto smiled, and closed the door behind them. No ramen, why is there no ramen?" Naruto cried, as sat down at the round table. "Different world, different food," Tifa smiled. "I might be able to make this ramen stuff if I knew the ingredients." "Really?" Naruto asked hopefully. "But I don't know how to make it," Tifa said sadly. "Now that you mention it, neither do I," Naruto cried again, remembering that he only ever cooked instant, 3 minutes, ramen. "Miss Tiffania," a male voice called out, catching their attention. They were subtly surrounded by a dozen of male students, offering the half-elf girl different foods and drinks. "How about you have 1 cup of my black tea?" another student asked. "No, it's okay," Tifa replied politely. "Don't be so polite," another student said kindly. "No, I really," Tifa said nervously. "Please go out with me," said another student. "Alright, that's enough," Naruto stood up, pushing them all away. "Ever heard of invasion of privacy?" "Get lost," he told them. Why did one of them growl out? "Did you not hear me? Are you deaf?" "I said get lost," Naruto growled back. "A peasant like you dares to talk that way to us?" The students sneered. "This peasant could kick all of your asses," Naruto responded with a smirk. Hey, after fighting pain, destroying all 6 of his bodies, and then confronting Nagato himself, he felt like he could take on the world right now. "Clearly someone needs to teach you your place, peasant," the student sneered, and held up his wand. Naruto focused chakra to his eyes, and they shifted into the gray circular chill of the Rinnegan. "Stop. Please don't fight," Tifa pleaded. "Just let it go, please." "Alright," Naruto sighed, and turned away. "Hey, don't you turn your back on me," the student shouted after him. "You're not worth my time," Naruto said over his shoulder, angering the students, and walked away with Tifa at his side. "That wasn't very nice," Tifa commented. "Neither was pestering you, but that didn't stop them," Naruto responded. "By the way, what's up with your ears?" "My ears? How can you tell?" Tifa asked surprisedly, and clutched her hat. "These eyes of mine are special," Naruto replied, as they rounded a corner, and stopped. "I'm half-elf," Tifa explained. "My mother was an elf, she died when I was young, and I get my ears from her." "So why do you wear the hat?" "There must be a reason besides the obvious," Naruto inquired. "Elves are a race that opposed the humans of this continent for a long time," Tifa continued. "My mother didn't believe in a god, and neither do I, so my mother sent me into hiding when the soldiers came for her. I've lived on my own ever since, and only came to this academy recently because of the courage Sato gave me." "I thought I left all this prejudice crap behind," Naruto groaned, and turned away. "I'll understand if you don't want to be friends with me," Tifa said, as she looked down at the floor. Looking at her saddened eyes, he couldn't help but the feelings of loneliness from when he was younger, and despite his reservations, he decided to tell her about his own personal demons. If they were going to be partners, then she needed to know about his past, and the danger being around him posed to her and the others. "I never said I wouldn't be friends with you," Naruto said clearly. "So you're half-elf, so what? I know what it's like to be hated for something out of your control, and others judging you because of that fact." "How?" Tifa asked after a moment of silence. The day I was born, a monster called the Kyubi no Yuko, the strongest of the tailed beasts, attacked my village, and my father sealed it within me, in order to save the lives of everyone else. Because of that, everyone thought I was the monster reborn in human form, and I spent the first 12 years of my life alone, Naruto answered. When I became a genin warrior, things got easier, and people started accepting me, but no matter what I did, and no matter how hard I tried, it never seemed to be enough or make a difference. I'm sorry, Tifa said sadly. We all have our demons, Naruto said simply. It's how we deal with them that defines who we really are. Thank you, Tifa smiled, and followed him. You are so impolite. What do you mean? Tifa asked, backing away slowly from the three girls that cornered her. Do you know who she is? Beatrice Kildenhof, one of the girls sneered. Miss Kildenhof, the three girls said, as one. Grand Duchy of Kaldenhof, Princess Beatrice, another girl introduced their leader, as she stepped out from the shadows. Princess? Tifa asked. You have become the classmate of the princess, but you are never greeting her. What a crime. Apologize now, the Redita ordered. Yes, I'm sorry, Tifa bowed unsure. This is meant to be an apology. Take off your ugly dirty hat, Beatrice ordered. How about you leave her alone? Naruto spoke up as he approached and pushed in front of them. And who are you? Beatrice inquired almost uncaringly. Naruto Uzumaki, he replied, remembering to say his clan name last. Go pick on someone else if you want to be a bully. How dare you, the girl in green sneered. Do you know who you're talking to? A better question would be, do I care? Naruto shot back. What are you gonna do about it? Throw me in jail. I'd like to see you try, princess. The girls were red-faced, and Beatrice herself began to glare at the whisker-marked boy. Who do you think you are, talking to me like that? Beatrice demanded. Someone who can knock you off your pedestal, Naruto glared back. Naruto, please stop, Tifa pleaded. It's okay, really it is, so please can we just leave? Fine, Naruto said over his shoulder, and took her hand, pulling her away. This isn't over, Beatrice sneered, and turned away along with the other girls. You got that right, Naruto muttered, as he and Tifa entered the courtyard. You know you really shouldn't antagonize people, especially her, a male voice spoke up, catching their attention. Gichi? Tifa asked. That girl is bad news, and hard to handle. Even if it's the same country, she is still a princess of an independent nation. Not only that, but she is damn rich, and she brings her guards with her wherever she goes. They're called the Sky Knights, Gichi explained. So what? Why should I care? Naruto questioned. They're the strongest dragon knights in Halkaginia, Gichi continued. I don't want to have a conflict with them. I'll just kick their asses if they even look at Tifa the wrong way, Naruto said with a shrug. If they disturb you again, then just tell me, and I'll deal with it. Naruto Tifa trailed off, as they walked. Sato sighed, as he approached the door to his and Louise's shared room. Earlier he saw Tifa being bullied, and was about to intervene when Naruto had jumped in to defend his master, if that's what you could call it. Ever since Naruto had showed up, Sato had been thinking of the marking on his left hand, and remembered the sight of Naruto's grey eyes, the Rinnegan he had called it. Welcome back, Sato. Hurry, sit here, I will finish preparing dinner, Louise greeted in the cutest voice she could muster, as he entered. Really? I'm starving, Sato smiled, as he sat down at the dinner table. What's the occasion? He asked, as she placed the last plate down on the table. No reason, Louise stammered. Louise, come on, you can tell me, Sato reasoned. I want you to take my tonight, Louise blushed at her own words. What are you? Oh, Sato said, catching on. If you don't want to, Louise continued. Oh, I want to, Sato interrupted. It's just I don't really have anything on me. I don't even think you can make them here, in this world. What do you mean? Louise asked curiously. I mean protection from making a baby, Sato replied. I don't care about that, Louise told him. Stupid dog, I want to love you, we never really finished what we started back then at the wedding during the war. Louise. Sato stood up and stepped around the table. He gently picked her up and carried her to the bed, leaving the untouched food on the table. He kissed her as he set her down and climbed on top. They started slow and steady at first, but as more time went on, it became clear that nothing was going to stop them this time. It wasn't long before they both were consumed in their passion. Tristan Academy of Magic. The first thought that entered the mind of maid Siesta as she stepped into the room and looked around was disappointment. She knew this could happen, but she had hoped it never would. All things considered, it wasn't entirely unexpected. The moment she saw both Sato and Louise in bed together, naked, she knew that they had finally tied the knot. When she first met Sato a year ago, she knew he was different and had fallen in love with him after he saved her from Count Maud. She knew that without any magic she was next to useless compared to the other girls in his life, but she still tried to get him to love her back. He cared for her, of which she had no doubt, but she knew a long time ago that his heart was claimed by Louise. But maybe he could claim her, as a mistress there was always that possibility. Such a waste, Siesta sighed, as she looked down at the table full of food. Miss Louise, you'll be late for class. I'm skipping class today, Louise responded with a groan, and pulled the covers over her head. Siesta. Sato asked, as he turned over, and his eyes widened when he saw her. This room isn't actually exactly what it looks like, there is no denying it now. Don't worry, I understand, Siesta smiled. Still, I'd prefer if next time you include me. She turned away, not noticing the blood that sprouted from his nose. She wasn't exactly thrilled with the idea of sharing him, but it was still better than nothing. There weren't that many good guys like him out there, and she wasn't going to let him go because of this. If she couldn't be his wife, then she was going to make sure she was his mistress. She promised herself that. Forget it, Lee said tiredly to Sato after Siesta left. It's not happening, as long as I'm an aristocrat. Those words would later come back to bite her. I can't cause trouble for Naruto, and the others, Tifa thought, as she stood outside the classroom door wearing a brown cloak with a razor pattern cut into the bottom. I must depend on myself, and not rely on others to do something I must do. Miss Westwood. Miss Westwood. She heard the teacher speak from the other side of the door. Absent from class. Then Tifa pushed the door open, and stepped through. Gasps filled the air, as she closed the door, and moved to the front of the class. Miss Westwood. What is that dress? Asked Chavus fearfully. Everyone, listen carefully to what I am about to say. This gown is my mother's relic, Tifa spoke clearly. What are you talking about? Chavus asked, terrified. Just desert residents wear this gown, is it possible that you are? Yes, Tifa nodded, and removed her hood to reveal her hand, and more importantly, her ears. She's an elf. One of the girls in the class shouted, and everyone immediately started to panic, and backed away including the teacher. Unforgivable, Beatrice muttered, as she cowered under her table. Just an elf, but more popular than me. Please, calm down, Tifa pleaded. I just want to be friends with all of you. Liar. How can an elf be trusted by anyone? Demanded a brown-haired girl. It's true that elves were opposing Halkijin as humans for a long time, Tifa explained. But my parents loved each other, and granted me both human and elf blood. That's why. Well, you said you were half-elf, Beatrice interrupted. Then answer me, what god do you believe in? Descends Devil, the first ancestor Bulimia. That Tifa mused. Truthfully, she had never believed in either god, and personally wasn't very religious. Neither of her parents was religious either, which was one of the factors of her birth. Hell, it was the reason that they tried to stay out of the conflict between the elves and the humans, as much as possible. If you want to be friends with us, then that means we must believe in the same god, Beatrice smirked. I believe in neither of those gods, Tifa declared. Oh? Beatrice asked, amused. Tifa closed her eyes, as a certain memory flashed through her mind's eyes. The day I was born, a monster called the Kyuubi no Yuko attacked my village, and my father sealed it within me in order to safeguard the lives of everyone else. Because of that, everyone thought I was the monster reborn in human form, and I spent the first 12 years of my life alone. Well, not anymore, Naruto. Tifa snapped her eyes open in defiance. I believe in Kyuubi no Yuko, the strongest of the tailed beasts, she declared. The what? Beatrice frowned. She'd never heard of that god before, assuming it was a god, and anger flashed across her features when she realized that this thing was defying her. Knights, she snapped, and 4 of her sky knights jumped in through the window, appearing at her side. So you don't believe in the first ancestor Bulimia, huh? Then, as Grand Duchy of Kichendolf, sky knights, take away that woman, she ordered, as she pointed towards the half-elf. What do you want? Tifa asked, as she was thrown to the ground in the center of the courtyard with numerous students around. Inquisition, Beatrice grunted with a smirk. I have the title of bishop. She said. Bishop? Muttered someone in the crowd. Is it real? Disprove your faith to me, the god's agent, Beatrice shrugged uncaringly. I don't need to, Tifa responded defiantly, as she stood. I don't believe in your god or even the Descent Devil. The only god I believe in is Kyuubi no Yuko. Who is this Kyuubi thing you keep mentioning? Beatrice asked curiously before shaking her head. It doesn't matter if you have 2 choices. Either leave and go back to your countryside or die here. I can't go back, Tifa smiled sadly. I've always wanted to see the outside world, and Sato and the others helped me see that dream come true. So I wouldn't just give up and return to that cabin in the woods. Just return when I tell you to do so, Beatrice said, losing patience. How pitiful, Tifa commented. No, you're still a child, she sighed. If she wants to die, then so be it, kill her now, and be done with it, Beatrice ordered, not knowing what else to do. She had never had anyone defy her before, and was unused to people actively going against her wishes. She didn't even realize what she had just told her knights to do before 2 of them rushed towards the half-elf with their swords drawn, and ready to strike. She was about to call them off when an orange-red blur appeared from the side, and sent her 2 knights crashing down at her side. Looking over, she saw that Tifa was in the arms of that boy from yesterday. Only now he seemed to be wearing a long red trench coat with black flames emblazoned on its bottom, and his eyes were gray with circular lines around the pupil. Naruto? Tifa asked, as the sage carried her to the edge of the courtyard, and set her down against the wall. Stay back, I'll handle this, Naruto told her, and she reluctantly nodded. Thank you, Tifa said, as he turned towards the Grand Duchy of Kaldenhof and her Sky Knights. What do you think you're doing, interfering like this? Beatrice demanded. You want to disturb the Inquisition. Knights. Dispose of him. The knights charged as one, intending to carve him up where he stood. Shino Tensei, Naruto said, as his eyes glowed. The knights were blown back and hit the far wall with dull thuds before falling to the ground unconscious. How did you? Beatrice stammered in surprise at seeing her knights defeated so effortlessly, and without a want to. I may not be quite on Nagato's level, but I do understand how the Rinnegan works, Naruto said, as he raised his hand towards her. Dansho Tenin, Beatrice yelped in surprise, as she was suddenly lifted off of her feet and pulled towards the Kyuubi Jinchuriki by an invisible force. He caught her, as she approached, and grabbed her head, forcing her to her knees, as his eyes glowed. Now open up your mind to me, and show me what you hide. No, Beatrice said before she went completely still. Naruto let go a moment later, and sighed. So that's how it is, he shook his head, and started walking away towards the now standing Tifa. You're not even qualified to be a messenger from God, you fake. I have the bishop's executor at home, Beatrice stammered. I read your mind, Naruto said, as he stopped at Tiffany's side, and turned back to the young princess. The special executor of Vermalia is needed to hold an inquisition, right? Even a bishop is supposed to know that. What does he mean? One of the students asked. Misusing titles she doesn't have the qualifications for. Another added. Unbelievable, proclaimed one student. It has nothing to do with me, one of Beatrice's followers said. Me too, the other two followers added, and they disappeared into the crowd. Miss Beatrice, Tifa spoke to the thoroughly embarrassed Grand Duchy. What? Beatrice backed away. Don't come near me, she warned, and fell down onto the grass. She raised her hands in defense, thinking that she was as good as dead now, only for Tifa to take her hand and smile. Let us become friends, okay? Tifa smiled. Why? After everything I've done, why would she want to be my friend? Beatrice thought, as she lost control of her emotions. Her facade completely fell, and she openly cried. Everything she did was because she was lonely, Naruto thought, as he stood off to the side. He could understand acting out towards others in order to gain recognition and escape the hell of loneliness. He'd done the same with his pranks, as a kid, and he ended up getting Iruka's attention and acknowledgement. This girl, Beatrice, wasn't used to people treating her as a person, only as a princess, even from her own Sky Knights. He wondered idly if the real reason he was Tifa's familiar was because she represented a mirror of himself in so many ways. She was a princess herself since she was Queen Henrietta's cousin, while he was the son of the Yondaime Hokage. She wasn't quite human, and neither was he despite how much his friends said they didn't care about the Kyuubi. Tifa had grown up isolated from society because of what she was, just the same, as he grew up alone too. Her mother clearly looked after her before she died, just the same, as Iruka looked after him whenever he could. It didn't help that she was blonde too. Then there was the matter of Beatrice, and her own mirror image. For a moment he was reminded of Gaara, if only because he was also trapped in the hell of loneliness, until he was defeated by Naruto himself. Now here, far from home, he saw both his and Gaara's forms overlap Tifa and Beatrice for a brief moment. He almost felt like he was looking into the past, as Beatrice cried into Tiffany's shirt, and remembered the look of fright on Gaara's face after their battle concluded, and Naruto had pulled himself towards his defeated opponent. There were too many parallels between them, with the sole exception being that Beatrice wasn't a psychopath like Gaara was before his defeat. The elf is so kind, one of Beatrice's former followers commented. Maybe I'll become her friend too, suggested another former follower. It looks like Tiffany's got a fan club, Naruto thought with a sigh. It's just another day in my life, Hanagato. Iro-senin. He suddenly coughed blood into his hand. Naruto, are you alright? Tifa asked, worried. Yeah, I think I just overdid it with the mind reading and everything, Naruto responded. You should go to the infirmary, Tifa told him. But he started. No buts, now go, Tifa practically ordered. Alright, I'm going, he sighed in defeat and started walking back towards the entrance. I'm sorry for letting it go too far, Headmaster Osmond apologized. I was panic-stricken, I'm sorry, Chavrus apologized also. It's okay, Tifa said in understanding. I feel that I'm able to make friends here. That's the best, Osmond nodded. Although, I want to say the problem is over, and I have one last thing to ask. Yes? Tifa asked nervously. Are they real? Osmond asked curiously, as he pointed at her breasts. Huh? Tifa blinked, and her ears lowered. Naruto lay in one of the beds surrounded by a curtain, and sighed, as he stared at his reflection in the nearby mirror. His eyes were hurting him every time he used them, and the strain from earlier had, according to the nurse, caused internal bleeding. If it wasn't for his healing factor, the strain alone would have killed him. How Nagato managed to survive so long while using it without something like the Kyuubi to fix the self-inflicted damage left him completely astonished. When he heard Nagato's story of how he became pain, and fusing with something called Jido Meizo, which turned his body into what Nagato was during the confrontation in Conan's hideaway, he thought that was the only self-inflicted injury he could get. Now though it appeared that the mere use of any of the Rinnegan seriously harmed its user, how the hell did Nagato manage to fight Naruto during that battle with not only 6 bodies, but create that small moon in order to capture him, was beyond anything he knew he was capable of at the moment. He needed to train and master the Rinnegan's abilities if he was going to survive here. This power was just like the Kyuubi's, it was simply too much for the human body to handle, even when augmented by the Kyuubi's chakra. He had no delusions, he defeated pain with a combination of his own skills and pure luck. As he was now, Madara could easily capture him and take the Kyuubi for himself whether Naruto liked it or not. Naruto? A certain blonde-haired half-elf appeared and closed the curtain behind her. Tifa? Naruto asked, surprised. Does it look fake? Tifa asked him as she rested her arms under her breasts. What? Naruto asked as a blush settled on his face. Everyone says that my breasts are fake, Tifa said solemnly. The headmaster even asked me just now, there must be a reason, right? But I don't know. Tifa, what are you asking me to do exactly? Naruto asked. Can you touch this chest? Tifa asked, blushing herself. Damn you, Yoro-senin. I know you're behind this. Naruto shouted in thought. He started. I can only ask help from you, Naruto, Tifa told him as she pushed him down on the bed. That's why, please, she pleaded as her breasts wobbled slightly. Well, if you really want me to do so, Naruto stammered and brought his hands up to touch the magnificent orbs. What do you think of Naruto? Tifa asked, blushing. The reason they look fake, do you get it? Not sure if I didn't touch it properly, Naruto reasoned. Damn you, Yoro-senin. You did this to me. He thought, as he grabbed her shoulders and changed their position so he was on top and she was lying under him. And suddenly the curtain was pulled aside. Excuse me, but I need to talk to you, Beatrice trailed off, and then blushed crimson upon seeing them. Wait, this isn't what it looks like, Naruto said, as his face reddened. Clearly I've caught you at a bad time, Beatrice said tersely, as she turned away. You misunderstand. Naruto exclaimed, and grabbed her before she could leave. Hey! Let go of me! The blonde princess shouted, as he pulled her onto the bed, and pinned her like he did moments ago with Tifa. Calm down, and talk, Naruto said with unusual sternness. Beatrice blushed, and looked away, as he held her arms down above her head. Pervert, she muttered, trying to be strong. Naruto, please don't hurt her, Tifa said to her familiar face. I'm not going to hurt her, Naruto responded. What do you want, Beatrice? You must have come here for a reason, so don't let this misunderstanding stop you. I came to apologize for what I did earlier, Beatrice stammered, as he let go. I caused you both a lot of grief. I'm sorry for everything. Don't worry about it, Naruto simply smiled. He's right, we're friends now after all, Tifa added, smiling also. Friends? Beatrice asked. The concept was completely foreign to her. After the misunderstanding in the infirmary, Naruto was released the next evening, and took the 2 girls back to their rooms. He then met up with Sato after both Louise and Siesta left at dusk when the world's moons could now be seen. Sato led him to one of the courtyards where a number of tables stood on the grass. You wanted to talk to me? Naruto asked, as he sat down at the table. Yes, Sato nodded, and sat opposite him. I wanted to ask if you came from Japan in my world. I've never heard of Japan, Naruto replied. So you don't come from the same world as me? Sato mused. How many moons does your homeworld have? That's the one, Naruto answered, and looked up at the 2 moons hanging in the night sky. The world I came from was ruled by a ninja type of assassin and governed by a leader called a daimyo. I know that ninjas in your world sound like ancient Japan, Sato commented. My homeworld isn't like that, at least not now back in Japan. They say everyone is equal, and that no one is better than anyone else. Do you believe that? Naruto asked seriously. Back in Konoha he'd grown up at the bottom of the barrel and worked his way to the top. Even so, he still felt like Konoha would never accept him and allow him to become their Hokage. He'd always hated stuck-up clans like the Uchiha and the Hyuga who thought they were better than everyone else because of their status and bloodlines when he could barely get by with what he had. I don't know, Sato answered honestly. I remember reading somewhere that some people are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Story of my life, Naruto sighed. Between being the 4th Hokage's son, becoming a sage, and being forced to contain the Kyuubi, he could certainly understand those words. Do you miss your home? Sato asked him. A bit, Naruto admitted. But before I came here my hometown was attacked and destroyed by a man called Pain. He was a fellow student of my master. He was also a member of my clan. We both studied under the same master, but he was corrupted by a man named Madara. One man destroyed an entire town. Sato asked, surprised. He reduced it to a crater, and Naruto responded. What did this guy use? A nuclear bomb. Sato asked in thought. I fought him and beat him, though I still don't have a clue how I won. It's all a blur now, Naruto continued. After he died and his partner left, I was summoned here by Tifa. I see. Sato trailed off. What about you? Naruto asked him. Nothing so exciting, Sato responded. My world hasn't had any full-scale wars in 70 years, and I was simply walking down the street before I was summoned here by Lise. It was hell for the first few days because everyone treated me like I was beneath them, but I kept proving that I didn't consider them superior at all. I bet they didn't take too kindly to that, huh? Naruto asked with a grin. I ended up fighting Gichi, and I won thanks to this, Sato said, showing the mark on his hand. Before I came here I had a rough understanding on how to use weapons from my homeworld. With this my body became, I guess superhuman would be the term, and I could use any weapon without difficulty. That's the power of Gandalf, Delflinger spoke up. It allows him to use all weapons in existence just by touching it. How advanced was your world, technologically speaking? Sato asked. Well, we had electricity, and could build long bridges stretching for miles. Even on a train, Naruto answered, remembering his time in the lands of wave and snow. So in the industrial age, Sato mused. Sounds about the same for this world too. That's about 300 years behind my world. 300. Naruto blinked. My world can safely send people to our moon and bring them back, Sato responded. I'll be honest and say that my world is a long way from making that kind of breakthrough, Naruto said sadly. They're still fighting each other, killing their own, and leaving death and destruction in their wake. It's the same here, and back in my homeworld, Sato sighed. A few months ago the country we're in now, Tristan, was at war with a neighboring country called Albion. I died in a battle at the Rose, the military port, holding off an army of 70,000 soldiers, and was resurrected by Tifa's elfin magic that she got from her mother. That's some pretty powerful abilities her people have, Naruto mused. It was a one-time deal, Delph added. It cost her mother's ring, which was used to restart his heart and heal the damage. I doubt you've noticed, but human familiars aren't common, Sato continued. In fact, besides us both, I've only encountered one other. Her name is Sheffield. She's the familiar of another void mage like Lise, and I think Tifa is a void mage too. What are these void mages exactly? Naruto asked, confused. I don't know how to explain it, Sato replied. I don't even understand it myself. I just know that I want to protect Lise even if it costs me my life. Being familiar with a void mage sounds like fun, Naruto grinned. Movement to the side caught his attention, and he looked over. Is it a dragon? He blinked. Yeah, it's Sliffid, Sato nodded. She's Sabitha's familiar. I know that look, Naruto commented, as he stared at the blue dragon. I've seen it on Gamakichi enough times to know it's the I'm hungry, and I want to eat something look. Let's go get her something to eat from the kitchen, Sato said, as he stood. You slept with Sato? Kirche asked in surprise. I didn't think you'd be that bold, she mused, making Lise blush crimson. The girls were all soaking in the warm bathing hall when they had let slip that she and her husband had spent the night together. I don't see why it's such a big deal, Lise said, as she turned away, her face completely red. Well, technically they are married, Montmorency commented. Legally speaking, their wedding in Albion is recognized as a legal bonding, as long as their Eclair Dammers still shines. How am I going to explain this to my parents though? My sisters already know how Lady Katlea already gave us her blessing, but my parents are going to go crazy, Lise said, almost panicking. That's simple, Kirche shrugged, unconcerned. You go to meet with them, put on the biggest sad puppy eyes you can, and then leave Sato to deal with them. Kirche, Montmorency protested. She can't do that. The last time my parents met Sato we ended up running away after they caught us in the lake, Lise blushed, remembering the incident. Sato had her pinned under him inside a small rowing boat she used to hide in, as a kid, that she had been hiding in, because of the problems she faced at the time concerning Sato, her parents, and marriage proposals. Sato was still kissing her when the boat ended up back on dry land, and with both her parents watching on with shocked, and in her father's case, angry eyes. Sato had managed to pick her up, and escape with a little help from her sister, Katlea, and Siesta. That was both nerve-wracking and kind of fun. Excuse me. They all looked up at the source of the voice. Can I sit here? Tifa asked, wrapped in a towel. Damn girl, Kirche muttered, as she looked at the half-elf over. You could suffocate someone with those, she commented, glancing at the two magnificent orbs hanging from Tiffany's chest. It's your choice, Lise huffed, and turned away. Sit wherever you want. Thanks, Tifa smiled, as she eased herself into the water beside them. We should go back, Reynold reasoned, as Verdinda dug through the ground, forming a tunnel they were crawling through. Don't you want to know the truth? We are nobles, Malicorn countered. We do not know when we'll need to sacrifice ourselves for our country, but if we still don't know the truth, would you die a worthy death for that? Why am I reminded of Irosinin? Naruto muttered from the back. We have arrived at the Holy Land, Gichi declared. He said you had something good to show us, Sato spoke up, as Verdinda cleared out the neighboring rock to expand the tunnel. The four mages in the group then started casting a concentrated spell on the far wall, as it glowed blue. I get the feeling we're not going to like this, Naruto sighed, as the glowing stopped, and a small hole formed in the wall with light shining through. We made a hole, Gichi grinned. This is great, Malicorn almost shouted, but Gichi covered his mouth to silence him. Come on, Sato, you look first, Gichi said with a gesture. Me? Why? Sato asked only to be pushed towards the hole. Let's take a look, Malicorn told him. What is it anyway? Sato asked, as he took a peek through the hole. What's this? Fog. He asked, as the steam cleared slightly. Is it possible that it's the female bathroom? His eyes widened, and he turned towards the four mages. You four made this hole, he trailed off, as he tried to suppress a grin. Damn you, Yorosenin. You corrupted me. Naruto yelled in thought, as he took a look through the hole too. This is a present we got for you both, Kichi smiled knowingly, and the others nodded. Really, you're all useless guys, Sato sighed. Suikami, Naruto muttered. Tiffany's in there too, along with a Radid with huge, and is that pink hair? What? Sato asked, pulling him away, and looking through the hole. Louise is in there. He instantly spotted his wife Master with a towel wrapped around her. Miss Tiffania? Kichi asked in surprise, and pushed only to be rebuffed by Naruto. If you take one look, you perverts, I'll shove one of my kunai up your ass. Naruto shouted only to wince, as he remembered where he was. Boys' voices, Tabitha spoke softly. Look, there's a hole in the wall. Montmorency called, and pointed towards the wall that the boys were hiding behind. Oh no, Gimli started to panic. Retreat, Kichi suggested. I knew this was a bad idea, Naruto winced. That's why I said to go back, Reynold cried. Let's get the hell out of here. Kichi yelled, and the four mages made a dash down the tunnel towards the exit. You two have got an escape plan, right? Delph asked the two human familiars. Nope, Naruto shrugged. Well, we have to think of something because I think Lise will be mad at me, Sato said with a sigh. I'm drawing a blank here, Naruto added. Everyone, don't get caught, Kichi told the other three mages, as they exited the tunnel. Wait everyone. Malicorn called after them from his trap position at the tunnel entrance. He watched as they ran, and tried to pull himself out, but simply couldn't see. Reynold and Gimli were the first ones to be caught by the girls, all of whom were wearing white robes, and sporting angry looks. A serious guy like you to do such a thing, Montmorency said angrily. Please have mercy, Reynold begged. It was the leader's idea, Gimli added. The one who says that is the most suspicious, Kirche said with a darkened look in moonlight. Just like a man, Montmorency proclaimed, and drew her wand, not sure where from. Aqua. She exclaimed, and water exploded from her wand, almost drowning Reynold. Ignis. Kirche wasn't far behind, and unleashed an explosion of flames at Gimli. Back at the tunnel entrance, Malicorn was still trying to break free, and escape when the girls appeared. Damn, just a little bit more, he said, as he struggled. There? Louise called, as she and the rest of the girls moved in front of him. So they go in through this hole, huh? The pink-haired void mage sneered in disgust. Spare my life, Malicorn stammered, as the girls pointed their wands at him. Ardscat. The girls yelled, and were soon followed by a thunderous explosion. Is there anyone inside? Tifa asked, as she looked down the now clear hole in the ground. Don't hide inside anymore, you peepers. Louise shouted in outrage, as the other girls crowded around. Seems like accepting your fate is unwise right now, Delph commented. We're dead if we go out there, Naruto added. They'll kill us if they even suspect we're the ones down here. What else can we do? Sato asked. Honest. A voice echoed, and a sudden blast of wind rushed through the tunnel, pulling them out into what seemed like a tornado. What's going on? Sato stammered, as the two human familiars were flung into the air, and hurled through one of the central tower's windows. Ouch, Sato winced in pain, as he pushed himself up onto his knees. Where the hell are we now? Naruto asked with a groan, as he laid spread out on the floor. It looks like the Academy Ballroom, Sato replied, and a sudden clang echoed through the room. Who's there? The blue-clad swordsman asked the dark and silent room. Be silent, a familiar voice whispered. That voice is Tabitha. Sato inquired, and saw a human-shaped shadow move near the stairs. Tabitha, you helped us. He asked her. As her payment for feeding Sylphid, Tabitha confirmed. Just because of that? Sato asked, surprised. Knights never owe anyone, Tabitha responded. Thanks for the help, Naruto nodded in gratitude. Thank you, Tabitha, Sato said with a smile. Tabitha suddenly shushed him, and grabbed him before pulling him into the darkness with her. Naruto heard the sound of footsteps approaching, and blended into the darkness too when Montmorency burst through the door. Ichi, where are you hiding? Montmorency demanded. Come out. Tabitha, why are you not wearing any clothes? Sato thought, as he felt Tabitha's state of undress push against his back. She was using his form to cover herself, as he pressed her back against the wall, away from the view of Montmorency and Naruto. I found Kichi. Another girl's voice called from the door. Where? Montmorency questioned, as she rushed out of the door with the other girl, causing the three to sigh in relief. Safe now, Sato said finally. She almost found you though, Naruto countered only for him to raise his guard again when a rustle was heard echoing through the room. What are you doing? Sato stammered, as the naked Tabitha clung to him. Ghosts? Tabitha answered frightened and shivering. Ghosts? You scared of ghosts? Sato asked her. Don't worry, we're here, and won't let anything happen to you, Naruto told the blue-haired mage. Even though he was afraid of ghosts too, he still wouldn't let it show, at least not around someone else who was more scared than him. Another rustle was heard, and Tabitha suddenly fell backwards, having fainted. Naruto caught her before she fell, and quickly took off his red trench coat. "Is she alright?" Sato asked worriedly, as Naruto laid her down on the floor, and set his coat over her form to cover her. "She just fainted, I think," Naruto replied honestly. "I'm going to take her back to her room, no offense, but I'm less likely to be noticed being a ninja, and all." "That's probably a good idea," Sato nodded, as another rustle caught their attention. They turned, and saw what looked like a collection of small dolls walking across the floor, and stopping in front of them. "What the hell is that?" Naruto asked, as the dolls started to dance. "It's a puppy's party," Sato answered. "I'll see you tomorrow," Naruto sighed, and picked Tabitha up in a bridal style. "Yes, see you," Sato nodded, and watched, as Naruto carried Tabitha to the window, and jumped into the darkness beyond. "Puppets will dance here every night," Louise's voice echoed through the room. "Louise?" Sato asked when he spotted her. "You were also in the hole just now, right?" Louise asked, though it was more of a statement than a question. "Yes or no?" she asked softly. "Yes," Sato admitted. "Disappointing," Louise sighed. "But I didn't know what they planned," Sato explained. "They didn't tell me they were going to spy on the women's bathroom until we were already there, which surprised her. They just said that they had something nice to show me, so I followed them." "Let's go to bed," Louise said, as she grabbed his hand. "It's been a long day, and I'm tired, so let's go." "Yes, my master," Sato smiled, as he followed her. "And one other thing," Louise said over her shoulder. "Don't peek at me again if you want to see me like that, then be a man, and do something about it yourself." When Tabitha woke up, she felt a pair of strong arms set her down on her bed, and let go of her. Immediately she was alert, and opened her eyes to the sight of Naruto turning away from her, and heading towards the door. "Wait," she whispered, stopping him from leaving. "Don't leave, please stay with me." "I can't do that," Naruto said, as he refused to turn around. "You know what it's like to be alone," Tabitha whispered softly, causing him to stiffen. "When I look at you, I see a reflection of that pain in your eyes. I don't want to be alone." She stood up, feeling his trench coat drop from her frame, and walked up behind him. "Please," she pleaded. He trailed off, not knowing what to say. "Please," she whispered again, turning him towards her, and pulling his lips to hers. He didn't fight back. Naruto's eyes snapped open, and immediately recognized that this wasn't his apartment. Looking around, he saw that he was lying in a bed in a room with only his tattered jumpsuit and red cloak present on the floor. He looked around confused for a moment before memories of the previous day came rushing back to him, and he clutched his head in pain. Movement at his side caught his attention, and he saw Tabitha sleeping in the futon beside him with her hair covering most of her face. He brought his hand over, and pushed the bangs behind her ear, and smiled. Naruto slowly got out of the bed, and got dressed, upon finding out that his clothes had been cleaned, no doubt by one of the servants. He opened the door, and left the room, making sure to close it behind him, as he did so. Tabitha watched him go silently, though he didn't know, and allowed a small smile to cross her lips. "Could you use no jutsu?" Naruto whispered, as he slammed his palm down on the ground of the courtyard. An explosion of smoke signified the summoning of a human-sized red toad wearing a blue jacket. "Yo Gamakichi, bro?" Gamakichi stammered in surprise. "Bro, where the hell have you been? We've looked everywhere for you, but you just disappeared." "It's a long story, Gamakichi," Naruto said with a sigh. "After the fight with Pain a week ago, I died." Wow, back up a second," Gamakichi interrupted. "What do you mean a week ago? It's been a year since the Battle of Pain." "A year, but I've only been here 2 days at the most," Naruto responded. "Bro, things back home are messed up right now," Gamakichi started. "What happened?" Naruto questioned. "About a week after you disappeared, and the reconstruction of old Danzo become Hokage," Gamakichi began. "Danzo?" Naruto asked with narrowed eyes. "He's got a lot of nerve becoming Hokage after what he's done. He's the one responsible for creating Pain to begin with." "Well, he's dead now," Gamakichi continued. "Don't ask me why, but your old buddy Sasuke killed him, and attacked Kumo." "Sasuke, why?" Naruto questioned further. "He joined the Akatsuki," Gamakichi replied. "I don't know why he did it, but he even attacked the 5-cage summit before hunting down and killing Danzo. The 5 major villages formed an alliance against the Akatsuki, and managed to secure the Hachibi Jinchuriki, though he was captured a few days ago on this island, which was a giant turtle." "What the hell is going on?" Naruto asked. "The Akatsuki leader, the real one, not Pain, declared open war on the 5 major villages at the summit," Gamakichi explained. "He wants to collect all of the Biju, and merge them together into one demon, a Jubi." "Jubi?" Naruto asked. "Apparently the Biju we know today are just the 9 pieces of the original Jubi that was defeated by the Rikudan Sennin," Gamakichi continued. "If someone were to become its Jinchuriki, then they would be unstoppable." "What's his name?" the Akatsuki leader. Naruto asked the question. "Uchiha Madara," Gamakichi answered. "Your chakra is vile and disgusting. It reminds me of Uchiha Madara." "Who's Madara?" Naruto inquired, as he relived the memory. He was the founder of the Uchiha clan in Konoha, and fought the Shodai Hokage, Senju Hashirama at the Valley of the End, Gamakichi replied. He was supposed to have died back then, but he somehow survived. It's believed that he was the one that was manipulating the Yonde Mizukage during the bloodline purges. Madara, he's the one who summoned Kyuubi to attack Konoha the day I was born, Naruto stated. Madara is actively looking for you, bro, Gamakichi told him. He wants the Kyuubi, and he'll be coming after you to get it. He won't get his hands on it, Naruto said clearly. Gamakichi, I have a favor to ask of you. Anything, Gamakichi responded. I need you to return to Konoha and locate my father's body. If you can locate the forbidden scroll of sealing, that would help too, Naruto requested. Your father? I don't know what your Gamakichi started. I know, alright. Please just get it for me, Naruto told him. Alright, I've tried reverse summoning you, but it won't work for some reason, Gamakichi responded. You might want to summon Jiratora and Agama Sennin. I'll do that, Naruto nodded. It was great seeing you again, bro, Gamakichi grinned before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto quickly formed a set of hand seals and slammed his palm down on the ground again. A massive explosion of smoke blocked everything from view, and, as the smoke cleared, a large elderly toad was revealed with several other toads sitting before him. Yo, Naruto greeted me with a wave. How have you been a super-sized sage? It took you long enough, Fukasaku said. It's been 3 days since you summoned Gamakichi, and I've been forced to sit in the same spot waiting for you to summon us. It's only been a few seconds for me, Naruto admitted. Who are you again? The Great Toad Sage asked. Naruto's sweat dropped at that before answering, Uzumaki Naruto. Come on, super-sized sage, at least remember my name. Can't we have one meeting without this shtick? He asked in thought. Oh yes, Naruto, the sage nodded, having finally remembered him. Naruto, I have seen your future. You will do battle against a man with powerful eyes and dot. I already know that part, Naruto interrupted. Madara, right. After a moment of silence, the sage spoke again, Jiratora. I have also foreseen the transfer of the key to Naruto as well. Give him the key to the seal, and allow him to wield it, and its consequences. If you say elder, Jiratora agreed, and unraveled the scroll he sat on in front of Naruto. What's that? Naruto asked in confusion. The key to opening and closing the Yonde Hokage's seal. With this, you could actually release the Kyuubi completely if you wanted to, instead of becoming the Kyuubi like it's been trying to do, Jiratora explained. Put your hand on that square, this is also your ticket to perfecting that. For a long moment Naruto didn't move. What's the matter? Hurry up and touch the seal, Fukasaku told him. You're worried, aren't you, Naruto? Well, I'm not surprised, Jiratora said with a sigh. What? Fukasaku asked, confused. Fukasaku-sama, the Kyuubi's power is made up of 2 parts, his chakra and his will. In order to control the Kyuubi, he needs to draw only on the Kyuubi's chakra and make it his own. But it's not easy. If he draws on the chakra, then the Kyuubi's will comes with it. The Kyuubi is a mass of hatred, and it clings strongly to the chakra. No matter how strongly you brace yourself, it will try and take over your heart by clinging to the shreds of hatred inside. In other words, in order to control the Kyuubi's chakra, your own will must be strong and free of hatred in order to separate the two completely. The Yonde made the seal so small amounts of the Kyuubi's chakra would leak out and naturally mix with Naruto's own chakra, but once he uses the key to unlock the seal, he will be able to draw on the Kyuubi's full chakra, Jiratora explained. And Kyuubi's full will is attached to the chakra, Fukasaku finished, as he caught on. If the Kyuubi's will is stronger than Naruto's, then the Kyuubi will be completely revived, Jiratora finished. Has the seal ever been fully opened? Fukasaku inquired curiously. The truth is that the Yondame's seal is weakening. In order to keep Naruto from turning into the Kyuubi while he trained, Jiraiya used the key to close the seal, but the seal was weak, and he didn't know when Naruto might once again turn into the Kyuubi. Remember, the thing has 9 tails worth of power. Even a Shinigami-created seal is going to have problems containing that over a prolonged period of time, Jiratora continued. So Jiraiya used the key to open the seal for a short time to try and strengthen Naruto so he could control the Kyuubi, but it failed. What happened then? Fukasaku asked wearily. It didn't go well, Jiratora answered grimly. It's true that when I fought Orochimaru before, I opened myself to Kyuubi and let it take control of my will. I got so mad at what he said about Sasuke that I wanted to defeat Orochimaru right away. But I ended up hurting Sakura-chan, and Yamato Taicho told me to use my own strength rather than rely on the Kyuubi. It was one thing when I was just training, and I had Yamato Taicho watching over me just in case, but in battle there's nothing but hatred. So I thought I didn't want the Kyuubi's power, and I didn't think I'd be able to control the Kyuubi's will. But when pain hurt Hinata, I was filled with so much hatred, and rather than not using it, my heart automatically connected with Kyuubi's will. Dad redid the seal, so I'm not worried right now, but I don't know when it will happen again, and I can't just leave it alone. Nagato entrusted me with the future. I won't let Kyuubi endanger anyone else. In the end, I am the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I can't run away from that. Naruto smiled and pressed on the scroll. Finally, Fukasaku groaned. There's no use in hesitating, I can control it just like Dad wanted me to. Naruto said he felt the seal on his stomach light up for a second. We have an agreement, I will join you, Jirotora nodded. Good, now do you have the forbidden scroll of sealing? Naruto asked. And my father's body. It's right here, Fukasaku nodded, and handed him the large scroll. Why did you want it for? He asked, as the Grey Toad Sage placed Minato's body down on the ground. There's something in here that belonged to my father, Naruto responded. Something I'll need in the coming days, something I'll need for my fight with Madara. Good luck, and know we will always be by your side, Fukasaku said before the toads disappeared in puffs of smoke. Naruto sighed, and shouldered the scroll, and sealed away his father's body in another scroll. The scene when Naruto returned to the courtyard was strange, and interesting to say the least. Sato was being hugged by this man he didn't recognize who was wearing a maid's outfit, and had lipstick on. The man appeared to be trying to kiss Sato, but the boy was holding him back, and kicked him in the crotch, forcing the man to drop him, and collapse to the floor in pain. What the hell is going on here? Was all Naruto could ask. Sato, Naruto, please save me. Tifa shouted, as she rushed into Naruto's arms. What did I miss? Naruto blinked in surprise. Everyone is acting weird, Tifa responded. They're staring at my breasts, and even hugging me. They must have been controlled by magic, please help me escape. Magic? Sato asked, confused. Why do I get the feeling I'm not going to like this? Naruto inquired. Tiffania, so you're here, Louise said, as she appeared along with Jessica, Montmorency, and even Beatrice. We've been fated to be together since we met each other. Today we must use our bodies to end this. Use your bodies? Sato yelled in surprise. Damn you, Yorosenin. I know it's you that keeps getting me into these situations. Naruto thought with blood dripping down his nose. Love each other forever like us, Montmorency said, as she grabbed hold of Beatrice. Love is too wonderful, Beatrice said, as she pulled the other girl's lips to hers in a kiss. That's so good, Sato muttered. How the hell do we keep ending up in these situations? Not that I'm complaining, Naruto trailed off at the sight of the two girls making out. Come here, Tiffania, Louise said, as she closed in on the half-elf. What do we do? They're obviously not themselves, Naruto asked, as he stepped in between the two girls. I didn't want to use it here, but I have no choice, Tifa muttered. Naruto, please move out of the way, she said, as she held up her wand. Naruto reluctantly nodded, and moved aside, as she started incanting something in a language he didn't recognize. Her wand sparked, and the four girls were wrapped in a tornado-like barrier. Delio. The wind died down, and the four girls, and one man, blinked in confusion. What did I do? Louise asked, confused before looking down at herself. What did you do to them? Naruto asked the half-elf. I erased their memories of today along with what was affecting them, Tifa replied. Who are you? Beatrice asked Jessica, having never seen her before. I seem to have had a very nice dream, Scarin mused. Kai. Who are you? Beatrice and Montmorency yelled in fright. Not good, Jessica said, as she and her father started running. It would be bad to stay here any longer, let's go back. Ah, wait for me. Scarin shouted after his daughter, as they escaped. What the hell is wrong with this place? Naruto muttered, as he scratched the back of his neck. Tiffania, Sato spoke up. That magic just now was. I'm guessing the ability to control memories isn't common even for this place, huh? Naruto asked, as he turned towards them. No, it's mostly elemental magic they use here, Sato replied. Sato, everyone I'm sorry, spoke Siesta. It was my love potion that caused all this trouble. Love potion? Sato asked. They actually have stuff like that here? Naruto inquired. Yes, but it's illegal, Beatrice answered. Is it this one? Montmorency asked, as she held out a small pink heart-shaped container. This low-quality love medicine is yours. I'm sorry, Siesta apologized. Forget it, Montmorency said, as she turned away. I don't remember it anyway. It doesn't cause problems like this anymore. Yes, Siesta said, understanding. Magic that can make people forget? Sato asked, confused, as the two human familiars and their summoners sat at the table in Louise's Sato's room. Sounds like a Yamanaka mind walker, but they're only capable of blocking memories, not erasing them entirely, Naruto mused. That is the only magic I can use, Tifa said sadly. You know, Naruto countered. You're half-elf, so it stands to reason that you can use elfin magic too, Delph added. I've never heard of such magic before, Louise commented, slightly worried. Wild magic perhaps? Or something else? Another void mage, Sato, spoke up. It is odd that she would summon a human, as a familiar, Louise reasoned. Sheffield's a human familiar, and her master is a void mage. I think it's safe to say that only void mages can have human familiars. But if that were true, then you, Naruto, would have been gifted with special powers like Sato can wield any weapon by simply touching them. My eyes, Naruto responded. My eyes can turn into the Rinnegan whenever I channel chakra magic into them, and I'm able to use its abilities, though I'm still working on using them to lessen the strain it puts on me. Why don't you need a wand to do magic? Louise asked curiously, The ninja of my world use hand seals to channel our chakra in order to do so, Naruto explained. Don't ask me how it's done, I was never very good at understanding how it worked, never mind trying to explain it. The hand of God can wield ultimate power, Tifa whispered. The eyes of God can see the border of life and death, the mind of God holds the knowledge of the universe. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description, see you next time, till then sayonara.